Well, hello, and welcome to the Holistic Monitor. This is a special episode because it is the 100th episode. Imagine that. Show has now been going on for 2 years and a few months, and I could never have imagined that we would be at the 100th episode. I think my first goal was to hit 50 and see where we were at, and I kind of barnstormed through that 50. With many episodes. This was last summer, I believe. I have done a lot of format changes and a lot of site board changes as to what the show is and was and where I wanted it to go. And in this 100th episode, I just wanted to kind of share some of the things going on with me and where this show is at and where my head is at and what we're doing and what the vision forward looks like. I used to do this at every top of the 10, so I would do it on the 30 and the 40 and the 50th episode. But I stopped doing that, moved to seasons to break it up a little bit, and that was partly due to a algorithm specific for Apple, which is just the way it works. But they wanted seasons, so I gave them seasons. So now we're in season 8, and this is episode number. What would be the episode for this one? 6. This would be the final episode for season 8. So the next episode will be the 101 show, and it will be season 9, episode 1. You have a great guest for that as well, Deanna Divine, which I'm looking forward to. It would be a really great interview. And but yeah, I wanted to dip in and celebrate 100 with my own me as guest, me as host type of show, and really have had a lot of fun with this. Now, if you wanted to put out a question, you had anything you wanted to ask, anything at all, feel free to put it in the comments. Oh, let's see, I have my son here, so that is part of what you'll find is part of my life that I'm doing here is working with the schedule at present, which is with a near 3-year-old. So I have to monitor his nighttime and morning routines pretty closely. So that's my schedule. So these shows take place at those times when he goes to sleep or before he wakes up. So you may hear some screaming or anything like that. That's him having some night turns. So that is part and parcel to where we're at, what I'm doing. The schedule is tight and ever changing as it would be. So I have moved the show to every other week, and this allows me a little bit more breathing room, which is something that I definitely need, and has allowed me to do a little bit more content diversions as well, which I want to go into in the show, what I'm up to basically. We have had lots of guests and lots of people offering wonderful and amazing services. That is part of the point of the show as it divided from its original intent. Now, at the start of this show, the Holistic Monitor, I modeled this after the newsletter that Life Energy Research Foundation used to put out, which was called The Monitor. And the newspaper would have tidbits and bits of news and information from the information out of the books for life energy research and life energy publications, and all about self-awareness formulas and nutrition, mainly a lot of nutrition, juice cocktails and minerals and things like that. So this was going to be a show that did that. And I got into about the 7th episode and realized that me generating the content and doing all of this heavy lifting was just not going to work. And I really wanted a weekly show. So I found out later that I couldn't do both. I had to choose. But I decided to bring in interviews so that I could highlight other people's work and make this more of a sounding board for people to talk and discuss and share, and then of course explore what they offer, because a lot of people have a lot to offer. It's quite an amazing world we have out there, lots and lots of talent. So that is where it moved, and it really didn't stop. It was interview upon interview. There wasn't a lot of time for me to generate content. So that kind of worked, but it also backseated the content development. So I'm looking into the future to change that to where we're doing a lot more of the SAF and life energy, SAF being self-awareness formulas, and life energy information to kind of carry along the original purpose of the show, which was to delve into the inner workings of life energy research as researched, discovered, and written about by my father and my mom, who did this work back in the late 70s and early 80s. What it is just a process, very simple, where someone can answer questionnaires and find out the inner workings of their energetic blueprint that they're working with currently and where it was. And then, of course, by clearing out all of that, you open up the possibilities for the future. You'll find that for me, and if you've listened to any of these shows where I actually do have a little discussion, that I'm a big proponent on an infinite future, but I have trouble wrapping my head around anything to do with a permanent past. So I have trouble with time travel, and I want to understand it. I want to get it, but I don't quite understand how anything can move backwards besides our holographic image into the past. We can delve into the past in our mind, into the etheric, into that which was written, but I don't see it as infinite. And so that makes it very difficult for me to grasp a lot of these concepts of time as, fully circular or fully, infinite in such a way. That which has been laid out, I feel like, is a line drawn. But that which is to come is infinite. There's an infinite possibilities in front of us. But it's very difficult for me to figure that out for the past, because there isn't, for me, I don't see an infinite amount of options in the past. I can go and I can work with my memories of the past. I can repair things that are in disarray for my energy in the past that makes my future or makes my present more whole. But to go back and actually change the timeline, I don't know how that happens, and I have been trying to find out for quite a while. That's just one stumbling block I have. I do believe in infinite time, just forward, not anything that's actually already been laid out. So I have to figure out how that works, and maybe that is the dualism that we all are trying to figure out. Maybe there isn't a movement past, but only a movement forward into infinite possibilities. I don't know. Others say different, but I digress. Goes into my philosophy there a little bit. The show, originally, I did want to have a lot of philosophical wanderings and spirituality, and definitely had that. So if you look at some of the episodes in the past, you'll see that I do delve into those subjects. There are a lot of people that are offering services to help others, and that has been one of my life pursuits and goals, is to provide a sounding board for people to come up to, ask a question, and get a response. That was what, when I asked my connections to my higher self and all of that, when I said, what am I here to do? What's my purpose? I was told that I'd be a signpost. Now I thought, well, that's pretty limiting. It seems very minor of a job. And I've told this to other people. I said, oh no, that's a great job. Signpost. So I am I hold up a sign, and when somebody comes to the crossroads and they're saying, which way do I go? I have the ability to point in a direction. And so that's a really good offshoot for what this show is that you come here, maybe you stumbled upon it through a search word or something like that, and the show points you in a direction that you may think or want to go. And that is where I've found that it isn't for somebody else to do that, but sometimes you just need to ask the question and the answer comes about from yourself. And so going into that, life energy research is something that I'm going to be delving more into. I'll do little highlights in the books, little isms, little parts of the system, some things to pique your interest, of course, but also to inform and to teach, to promote, of course, as well. But I do want to put out, good content that basically drives to a purpose and point, highlighting specific elements in the spiritual periodical table of elements is something that I'll be doing. Now that'll be shared over to our YouTube SAF training YouTube page, which already has an archive of audio and video of seminars and sales meetings and things like that. So even at the sales meetings where there's just a lot of joking around and they're talking about specific products being sold, etc., there's tidbits of little gems in there of information and knowledge that I wanted to put out and share. It's something that I've gained a lot from. I couldn't really understand SAF when I first got involved in it. And it seemed, when I heard my mom describe it, it seemed too big. I didn't, where would I be able to find a point of reference? And that's true because the system is based on math and it attaches to anything that you plug it into. So you can utilize it for anything. So that's really difficult to get involved in as far as from a business standpoint. Like, it just goes everywhere. I didn't really understand that. And it wasn't until I listened to 80 hours or right around 80 hours for hundreds of hours, many, many, many times over and over again, listening to the same seminars that have some fairly good quality. A lot of these are on tape that are now at their 40-year mark plus, and they're just not, the quality is just not there. So it's really hard for me to put content like that out. I will be doing that, so bear with it. But that's at youtube.com/SAF training or at SAF training. Or if you type in here at SAF training, you should be able to pop it up and you'll see a triangle. The triangle is 3 sides. That point is very important in the work of SAF because it involves itself with a body, mind, and spirit type of approach. And that goes into the physics of this, which I will be at some point in time putting out a specific learning module that will be available on the physics and the research that kind of blends the science behind all of this stuff. Why is consciousness so pervasive and so difficult to see and attain and attach to? Where do these anomalies come from? And that's all basically a physics response to all of that. Quantum physics has told us a lot about attention and intent, and how one thing is looked at versus another, and how it will perform and act based on that perception, the module of perception. So that is what we go into in a lot of SAF. It's pretty heady. But initially, we work with the basics, which is to learn and understand the mechanisms of yourself. And that would be your energetic self. So why are you not in a world where you have infinite possibilities forward? Why are you in a world that is driven towards one thing versus many, many options at your command? And that is the work of SAF. The self-awareness formulas are a method for you to open up the possibilities of the future. Now, I've been doing some interviews, and that is the main subject for these interviews is SAF and life energy. If you're interested, feel free to comment, and I can send out some links for these different interviews. I should put tidbits on here as well, right? But yeah, that would be looking forward. We'll be doing a little bit more of that. I did want to ask for, if you're listening to this and you're not subscribed, there are a lot of watchers and listeners that are not following or subscribed to the show. I'd ask that you do that because that helps push the algorithm as well as your comments. So if you could put a comment in there of what your goals are maybe, or what you like the most about living in the world that we're in. If you have a goal for your life, those are all great comments to have. And at 100th show, I like to look forward to the future and say, this is where we're at, but where are we going? So here's a quick little drop in for our new ad in the SAF training so that you can kind of get, I don't know you're going to get an idea from it, but this is our new ad for the SAF. So have a look at this and leave a comment what you think about this. I'll be right back afterward.
In our Life Energy courses, you'll learn to decode the hidden messages of your symptoms, gain a deep understanding of holistic healing, and tap into your true potential. With SAF Online, you'll have access to cutting-edge tools and resources to guide your journey. Whether you're a healthcare professional, holistic healer, or someone seeking personal growth, SAF training is for you. Join our global community of seekers and transform your life. SAF training, where the journey to yourself begins. Don't miss out. Enroll now and embark on a life-changing adventure.
All right, well, there we go. And saftraining.com goes to our lifeenergypublications.com site, which is our hub, where you can learn all about our inner workings, our 14 or so books, and of course, training. So you can learn about what the training involves and where it's going with that. And we're looking at doing some smaller courses too, which would be really, really good if we can get that developed. Not on my plate, hopefully. So let's see. And what else am I doing? So also I have a crystal and gem business, jewelry. I had a dream about it last night as we talk today. And that has been something I've been doing since the 90s. It's kind of been my main side gig for a long time, and sometimes my main gig. Right now it's a side gig, but it's very side. Since I moved, I've been kind of trying to find a new business personality, and I have created a new one, and I love it. I've attached a podcast to it too, so I just wanted to share a little snippet of that show so that you can get an idea as to what I'm doing. This is the Crystal Earth podcast, and what I'm going into, and it won't be, I was going to put it on Spotify and all that, but what I'm going to do now is just YouTube to keep it simple. And what we do with the most of it is what I'm calling the Crystal Chronicles, where we're going through and we're chronologically going through the different stones, A to Z, and diving into the different stones about their scientific, chemical makeup, and their metaphysical, so that you get an idea as to like how you can use this. I've been utilizing this method, and that informs me metaphysically about the stone, whether I've worked with the stone or not. And there's a lot that I haven't worked with. I carry a lot of stones in my my business, but I don't carry all of them. So I'm going into a lot of stones that I don't know much about, and this is the way I'm learning about them, and I'm kind of exploring that on the show. The A to Z's, there's just so many different kinds. I've came upon this way to map out its metaphysical attributes based on its crystal series, how it grows, its like grouping, and of course the color and hue of the stone. So utilizing these few elements allows me to generate what this stone would be useful for. I've long held that for me personally, that if I can see the color of it, I can get an idea as to what speed it's moving, but there's more to it than that, right? So then we look at how it grows, what shape it grows in. And then, of course, also, it's like family. Where does it come from? What is its driving principle of that whole family of stones? So you put all that together and you get a really interesting mapping. So I've been doing some of that to try and put out a list of stones that will be unending at the rate that I'm going right now. So it's I'm still in the A's, and I'm going to be in the A's until next year. unless I diverge and go out of chronological order, which is fine if I do that, but I haven't decided to do that yet. I'm still in A's, at least until aventurine, maybe azurite, and then I might hop out, and then I might come back in and do some more A's, amberite or something like that. But it's going to be an ongoing thing, and I, of course, want you to subscribe to that channel as well. That is at Crystal Earth Podcast, because there's a lot of interest in rocks, and I want to go over two forms of the stones. That's the chemical and the scientific, as well as the metaphysical. I feel like having a rounded perspective is very important. And a note to metaphysical, of course, wherever you're at, you're going to come upon a stone. It's going to be very different than when I come upon a stone where I'm at, because we're just in two different places. The key that opens a door for me may not do the same, open the same door for you. It's just the way it is. But there are certain subtle forces that the stone just is. And that is what we try to baseline on. What are the basics? And then how you use that is, or are you able to use it, is a whole different story. That's up to you. But the basics, that's what we look at doing with the metaphysics. These are very intangible energies that are sought after through meditation more than anything else, or in toning or in tuning with the stone. So let me do a little bit just so you can get an idea as to what that show entails. Okay, so we'll play a little brief intro of the show so you can get an idea.
Welcome to the Crystal Earth Podcast, brought to you by the Crystal Earth Gallery, your mineral and bead emporium. I'm your host, Nic Scogna, and each week we're going to dive deep into the fascinating world of gemstones. From their physical properties to their metaphysical powers, we're going to explore what makes each stone unique. Plus, we'll occasionally be joined by special guests who share their expert insights, their offerings as well. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey, there's something here for everyone. Let's discover the wonders and treasures of the earth.
All right, well, there's the intro for that show, so it gives you an idea. I don't want to get too deep into it. Basically, it looks like this right now, me talking, the background about stones. So dive into that. Check that out. Go subscribe over there. That's Crystal Earth Podcast, at Crystal Earth Podcast. There's also Crystal Earth Gallery on YouTube, but that's a splash. I don't know what I'm going to use that for quite yet, but yeah, check that out and see what you think. We're also doing some exploration through amber on that page called Amber Vision, where I dive into, with a microscope, the different inclusions, bugs, and insects inside of amber, which has been a lot of fun. And I'll probably do that with other stuff as well. But, it's mainly going to be a rock crystal type of show. I don't know quite yet if I'm going to dive into jewelry or any of the other elements of the business, but right now it's very rock oriented, which is a lot of fun. So check that out. That's crystalearthgallery.com and Crystal Earth Podcast on YouTube. Then, of course, I wanted to talk about the format. We've moved the format to every other week. Probably going to keep it like that. There's a slight chance that it might move to a monthly, but that just depends on the change of pace that's coming up next year. So we'll see how things go moving into next year. There may be another adjustment to the show's time frame format, which would be potentially once a month. As of right now, it's once a week or every other week. It used to be once a week, and every other week is very helpful for me. So we'll see if once I start to have to generate more content, it creates more of a demand, and I have very few hours per week to work with. So I also have a large workload with the jewelry business and a large workload with the life energy work. So generating content for a show can kind of be daunting to really push out that extra hour of time just to do the show. as well as any interviews that I may be doing or hosting the interviews. So there goes into a lot of stuff. But right now, every other week, so you can find us every other week on Thursday as a release on Spotify and all of the podcasts formats, as well as YouTube. YouTube is where you can see I can see most of the interaction, and of course, I implore you to subscribe to the YouTube channel or anywhere that you're listening to this. If you're listening to it now, drop a comment. All that helps for people to discover the show. Very important. And of course, with that, I also wanted to say a big thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It has been my pleasure to be a sign on your journey, which definitely has been my life purpose in a sense, to be a sign for you to find your way. But you always need to make the judgment. Is that the right way? Even with my guests, you may find like, oh, wow, it's perfect. Well, I don't know, right? I only have the guest on so that they can explore and promote what they offer. It is really up to you to decide whether or not that fits correctly. So I hope that you are enjoying the show, and I implore you to subscribe. Hit the subscribe and help the show push upwards. And we're looking at getting to 2,000 followers on YouTube. So that's our next big goal, is 2,000. And that is a lofty one. I probably should start with 1,500 because we're in the 1,400s. But 2,000 is the goal. And I don't have a timeline on that. I just like to see that happen. And that works through the watchers and the listeners. So feel free to comment your future goals, something that you want to materialize in your life, and subscribe. And let's make this show jump up the algorithm and see what happens. You never know. So 100th show, really, really very thankful for your attention and your time. And I hope I have not wasted it. And I hope that you will join us for more by subscribing and seeing what we have coming up, because we got some great shows coming up. So, my friends, until next time, be well.